Greetings and welcome to another edition of The Great Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Well, here it is another Wednesday, and I want to just say a quick reminder that it's still the Harvest Moon Festival. So enjoy yourself and celebrate the Harvest Moon Festival, everybody, and celebrate with food and whatever else it is you do to celebrate the Harvest Moon Festival. Today's topic is near-death experiences. And this is an important topic to cover because there's a myriad number of near-death experiences and they're all different. So we're going to go over some of those today. We're going to go over some of the near-death experiences and how they're significant. Now, I don't want to ruin anybody's joy or say that near-death experiences aren't valid or that they aren't real, because they are real. But it needs to be said, it needs to be known that there's a variety of near-death experiences and they're all different for different cultures. For example, the tunnel experience where a person is traveling through a long tunnel toward a light is not experienced generally by Hindus. They had one incident of a Hindu that went through the tunnel experience, but the rest of them did not have a tunnel experience. Instead, they had an experience of being taken by messengers before a clerk of some type who would tell them that they were brought there as a mistake and to take them back, and then they were brought back. That happened with a lot of them. A lot of people had that experience. They also saw Hindu deities. They saw Hindu gods and goddesses and in their near-death experience. And the Christians have seen Jesus in their near-death experiences, and Buddhists visit various heavens and hells when they go through their near-death experience because their culture encourages them to have visions of hell in their culture. So the Buddhists, the Hindus, the Christians, even the Muslims and the Jews all have their own different near-death experiences, and they're all different depending on their culture. You would think that people, once they're dead, would be treated all the same, but apparently that's not the case. They're all treated differently depending on what their culture is and depending on what they believe. So rule number one of near-death experiences is that you see what you expect to see when you die. And that could be read by a person who's an atheist or doesn't believe in near-death experiences to mean that near-death experiences have no validity, because people see what they want to see when they die. That could mean near-death experiences aren't valid, that they're not real. But that is not the case either, because we know that there's life after death, because I've seen keys move by themselves, jingle by themselves in the air. Only a ghost could do that. So I know that there's life after death. So if there's a near-death experience and it's valid and people can hear what they're saying about them in the waiting room and hear dirty jokes by doctors and be able to recall things that happened in the operating room when they were under, and even beyond the operating room, that would confirm that the body is not the be-all and end-all. The flesh is not the be-all and end-all of our life experience, that there's life beyond the body, that there's life after death. And the near-death experience often confirms life after death in many cases, that it confirms life outside the body and life beyond what we know. But why are the near-death experiences also different? Well, one reason could be that the goddess wants people to be comfortable, and she wants them to be to feel at home when they die. So she lets them have their own experience of death and see what they want to see and hear what they want to hear, because that is confirms their own beliefs about life and death. And by confirming their belief, they believe in something. They may not believe in her, but they believe in something, and that's good. So Goddess allows people to have their own experience. In fact, we see with all of these that the Christians can't be right and everyone else be wrong, when the Hindus see gods and goddesses in their near-death experiences. The truth be told is that none of them are right. The goddess is the supreme being in our universe, but what happens is that people see these gods and goddesses after they die because it comforts them. It's a comforting thing to see your favorite Hindu deity or Jesus or one of these other. So Goddess allows people to see these things when they die. She allows them to see beings that they consider to be Krishna or Jesus or what have you, because it's a comfort to the dead person. Now, me and my friend Judy were discussing near-death experiences the other day, and she had an interesting idea. She thought that because people go through the tunnel experience, where they travel through a long tunnel toward a light source, that could be a reliving of the birth experience of going through the birth canal toward the outside world. And I had a few objections with this. My objection number one was that, first of all, near-death experience isn't the same as a birth experience, because if seeing Jesus is not what you see when you're born, you see mom and dad and doctors and so on. It's not the same experience. So that was my first objection. My second objection to the tunnel experience being a reliving of the birth experience was that when the person is traveling through this tunnel, they can feel themselves traveling through the tunnel at a high rate of speed. They're going through the tunnel really fast, and in the birth experience, the baby is cramped. The baby is stuck in the birth canal for a long time. The baby is stuck, so they aren't moving at all. So that's a difference between the two experiences. They're quite different. And the third objection was that the baby's eyes are crammed up against the side of the birth canal. The baby can't look ahead to see a light at the end of the tunnel. In fact, the baby can't see the light until they emerge from the birth canal. So the two experiences are quite different. People who have the near-death experience can look ahead and very clearly see a light at the end of the tunnel, whereas that doesn't happen with the birth experience. So I had an objection, and she wanted to do a survey where she asked all the people who had near-death experiences, how many of them were born by C-section and how many of them were born through the birth canal. And it was very silly. And I had my objections to it, and I want to stress that the near-death experience is unique. Okay, it's the tunnel experience is unique, and it's not well, in the real world you could travel through a long tunnel toward a light source, but it's pretty unique that everyone who's had these experiences, at least in the West, has had this tunnel experience, that it's so prevalent. Not everyone has had the tunnel experiences. I correct myself, but that it's been so prevalent that it makes you wonder why everyone had the same experience, and there must be some significance to it. So um, that's about it about near death experiences. So have a good week. Celebrate the Harvest Moon Festival, and I'll see you next time.